It's Monday morning at about 10 o'clock, and it's time for the misnamed relaxing painting with Dyson Dungeons. It's misnamed because, yes, it is Dyson Dungeons, but it's quite rare. It's a rare event that there is actually any painting going on. Usually there's a lot of filing and sanding and test fitting and grumping about things that don't work. And lately, the decal application. But until I get around to working on these Star Trek figures, which will be maybe later this week, maybe not, never know. Until then, there isn't going to be any painting. What I am going to try to do is do what I was planning to do on Friday, which was to see if I can attach all of these panels, which are in boxes over there. So I'll be getting up and wandering around yet again to get these parts that are located in places other than within arm's reach, when I'm going to try to fit these on. And I was planning to do that Friday, but I didn't do it Friday because I discovered that here and here, the edges of the display panels are exposed, not hidden like they are all along here, seam to seam. And when I painted them, I didn't notice that, and so that's why they're all wrapped up like this, so that I could paint the edges. And I'll be unwrapping these and finding out how it turned out. Hopefully it's okay. That's a thing to be seen. And I did get the heads on, and I primed these, but I forgot that Kirk's shoulder needs some additional sanding and filing, and I think I might just go ahead and do that first, just so I don't forget it. This is kind of weird. These figures are weird. Their heads are too big. Their bodies are too thin. They're not minifigs. They're just pieces of models, and they're not really well constructed. After sticking the heads on with too much cement, there is kind of a gap. I mean, you can see there's a seam between the head and the collar, but I think that's okay because the collar is going to be painted black and the head will be painted like some sort of fleshy color. There's a little bit of there's like a break there or something on the collar that wasn't obvious before. I'm going to ignore that. I just am. So I'm going to put these two guys in here. This is where their stands are, and all these pieces of the railings, which will eventually get put on. Eventually, I think the gap there is pretty big. There's just only so much you can do with a model that's not very well made. There, I'll throw that on the floor where it'll be in the way, and I'll probably trip over it. So the thing is, I did some additional filling in on the front of the shoulder here and on the back, and I didn't sand that down before I primed it, so I need to sand that down. And maybe I'll give it a little bit of a primer on it too, maybe. We'll see how it looks once it's done. And then I'll unwrap these, see how those look, get the circle out from over there and the panels from over there, and start trying to get them to hold together somehow. I'm not quite sure how that's going to go yet. 400 paper. It's kind of a pain that I forgot this. these arms were problems in the beginning. One of them was, this one I think was just so badly molded that it just had gaps and things all over it. So I'm trying to make it look like it's actually attached. And this one came out okay. When they were first, it's not on camera, you can't see what I'm talking about. That's great. Thanks, camera guy, for messing that up. Okay, when these arms were attached, there were just big gaps between the arms and the body, even with excess cement, because it's just that's how they were done. They looked like a bad action figure, and so I'm using some filler to try to make them look like they're actually attached to the body. Yeah, I'm gonna have to throw a little bit of primer on that, otherwise it's going to be a problem. Trying to feather it in here. Issue in the back. Sneeze, sorry. Excuse me. So eventually it'll look kind of like the arms belong to the body. Guess that'll be, I don't know. I'm not feeling any issues there. I guess this is about as good as it's going to get. I'm going to do what I say I shouldn't do, which is to put a little primer on that. I'm going to wander around just for a minute here and do this, because otherwise I'll forget and then it won't get done. On the floor where it here, because otherwise like it's gonna just get knocked over. It's probably stepped on. That's one wandering down. Several more wanderings to go, but not for a couple minutes, because it's time to unwrap these and see what I've got. As you can see, there's just a huge bunch of paper and tape and everything, and the only thing that was of issue was this little triangle here and this triangle there. And it looks like it's all silver, kind of dark, that dark metallic, but it's not. It's just this ridge there. The rest of that's taped over. And hopefully when the tape comes off, there'll be a nice clean line, and the rest of this will be that off-white color. And I wanted this to stand up when I spray painted it, so I built this little brace. So there's more tape and cardboard. Let's just do the big one first. Yeah, most of this, because I only wanted paint on this little area here, all the rest of this is covering up stuff I didn't want painted. Which, it's covered up, so it's probably not painted. This is not exactly like opening a Christmas present, not exactly like that at all. It's all got to come off so that I can see what happened to the part that I did want to have painted with a primer and 2 different colors. So this is okay. Okay. All right, how did the metallic paint get there? That was totally covered. And when you saw it, I took it off. It was totally covered. Okay, I'm going to have to sand all that off. It's so bizarre. And unexpected. It's not a disaster, but it's just really annoying. The back of this is the unpainted plastic, and now there's that little bit of metallic paint there. How did it get up here? Because I just sprayed it here. That I am confused about how that was even possible. Well, that was an unpleasant surprise. Okay. This is the part that needed to be painted. And so it is. This bit actually looks okay as long as that decal didn't get screwed up. Okay, well, this now looks like it should. Okay, because this part is exposed, and it was supposed to be this color underneath and the metallic across the top. And then this one here should look the same on this side. But this, I do not know how that happened. I don't think that was possible. Maybe it happened on the back. I mean, look how that was covered. All over. That's annoying enough. I have to do that before I assemble them. Okay, because once it's attached, I have to get this off before I attach it to the circle, because once it's attached, I'm not going to be able to effectively sand that. Well, one more thing I wasn't planning on doing that I'm going to end up having to do instead of doing assembly. There wasn't even any paint on the tape and stuff. I wonder. I don't know. I'm just really confused by that. Because seriously, there wasn't even any paint on all the tape and paper that I took out. This one came out okay, I guess. I wasn't planning for that tape to come off right there, but it did. I mean, I was planning for it to come off, but not at that moment. This isn't painted in the back. This is what it looked like before, but this side is hidden. Okay, so I'm not, hopefully it's hidden. Yeah, I'll show you the pile of stuff I'm making. You might as well see the mess. Okay, so, really? Okay, I'm gonna have to touch that up because that's a very visible part. It was almost working, almost. All right, so 2 problems. Of course, it couldn't work out just right. I'm going to wander off and throw this away. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to touch this up here, right there, where apparently the tape pulled some of the paint off somehow. I'm not sure quite what happened here, but it isn't supposed to look like that. And then I'm going to sand this off, that paint, and on we go. Getting the paint that needs to be painted onto the part that needs to be retouched up, where it got untouched somehow. I've got a billion paper towels. Got a whole pile of excess paper towels here, just accumulated. So the way this is done, unfortunately, it's spray paint, and I have the opportunity to tape up everything again and then to spray that, but I'm not going to. I'm going to put a little bit of this in this container, and then just dab it on with a brush, and the surface will be a little less than perfectly even, but the color will be right. Now that seems to have done it. So it just gets to stay there. Now I get to try to clean this brush. Isopropyl alcohol. It seems to work. Huh. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I have to use lacquer thinner. But the paint seems to have come out of the brush. Because no more is coming out of the brush. So there's that. Aside, put this aside, put this aside. I don't know, it's not really a side, it's just out of the way. And then I need to clean this up. I have no clue how that could possibly have happened. This is number 8. I'm going to put the 8 down here because this all needs to be sanded. So much overspray. I don't have a clue how that could have happened. Just a huge gap in the. I mean, you saw how much tape and paper was on there. But I left the backs of this unpainted so that, you know, when that happened, I just needed to sand it off. And I need to do a fair amount of cleaning on this, don't I? Getting all the sanding dust off. Okay, well, it's the bare plastic again. Hey, thank you. The pop filter, the mic isn't all that great, but the pop filter is amazing. There are dogs barking. You can't hear them. Okay. I've got this thing here that mixes paint. You can see it, like it'll move the picture It makes a huge buzzing sound and vibrates the whole work surface, and it filters that out. So yeah, our DM, purchases all this stuff, but the filter is just amazing. It anything but my voice. Wonder, I don't know, something got our dogs really going here. I'm almost tempted to go and find out what it is, because it doesn't sound good. So what I've been doing here is fixing a thing that could have been prevented. These panels go together around the bridge like this, and the edges here show past the panel. You can see it there just a little bit, and I'll show you in a minute, here and here. And I didn't know that. I didn't test fit them well enough, so I didn't know that when I painted them, and so I didn't take care of the sides. So I just, they look like this because they abut each other like that. So for the most part, you never know that there's anything there. So I had to stop what I was doing on Friday and take care of that. So a little bit right there in the corner. I think I want that red. I'm going to do a tiny bit of touch up. I hope this isn't a disaster. Sometimes these things work out okay, and sometimes it's like, oh, that tiny little spot bothers me, and then it turns into a huge mess. So this isn't really a studio. This is just actually a surplus equipment, a surplus camera and ring camera and microphone from our real studio, which is where we do our Dungeons and Dragons show. But yeah, it works fine for this purpose, but it's not a real studio in that sense. But the software is really good because it's the same software that we use for a D&D show. The thing is, though, that we can't use the pop filter the same way on our D&D show as here because Nines are Tabaxi Bard. The voice that he uses for his character is so shrill. Well, let's just say the pop filter recognizes Nine's voice as noise and filters it out. It was pretty funny when we discovered that. Okay. I didn't hurt anything. That was good. Ross, I don't know if you can't hear it, okay? But on his old painting shows, takes a brush and he just swishes it around. And I don't know what he's swishing it, because swishing it around doesn't get the paint off. So I don't know. He has some sort of magic solvent that gets all the paint out of a brush, and I don't. Okay, so these are cleaned off on the back. They're touched up, the red and the silver paint where necessary. So the next step is to attempt to get these panels on the circle. And that's kind of a challenge because, as you can see, okay, they fit on the edge of the circle here, but I can't stand them up because there's nothing to stand on. And I know that they're not going to fit. I've tried it a little bit. They're just, nothing on this model really fits, as is true of many others. So I'm going to, I thought about this over the weekend, is how am I going to do this? Oh man. Okay. I just made it. I have to be off screen for a bit. As I was pulling this out, this is the circle for the command bridge. Some kind of important stuff fell on the floor. Knocked it over. Just made a mess. Picking up our images and decals to finish the Lotus Ford, which I was working on until the decal became a disaster. And I ordered new decals. Aren't the new decals? These are the old decals. I don't know where the new ones are. Okay. All right. I'm trying to fix something that was just really, really clumsy. It was really dumb. I might be salvaging it. What I did is I put something on top of something else, and that was a bad idea. Sorry, I needed to pick that up and make sure that it wasn't damaged. So this is just a piece of cardboard that I painted the same brown color because otherwise it would be just sitting on whatever. There's no. Great, that didn't adhere, did it? Okay, so that needs to be put back on. Yeah, the adhesive didn't stick at all. Great, that was a thing. And that's going to be true. The epoxy doesn't hold. This one's holding. This one's loose. This one fell off. Well, I've got several boxes full of panels here, and what I'm going to do is sort of set them up around the edges the way they are, kind of the way they are supposed to be oriented. Later. These are the chairs. The chairs came out okay, except the colors aren't quite right. The gray is supposed to be closer to black, and the blue should be lighter blue. But I got the kind of curve on it. I came up with a clever solution to paint the curve on the chairs so that at least that part is right. I'm going to take this chair, the captain's chair, which is detachable, and put it in here. And I'm going to reach over, hopefully not knocking anything else out. Yeah, hi, I'm on. Yeah, I need to reattach it. For some reason, the epoxy, which should grip anything, isn't gripping. It totally didn't grip that. And this one is loose as well. I'm gonna have to try something else. This one is number 8 here. Move goes here. Here, 14 goes here. Eight, 10, 12, 14. There. This is now in the way. Okay. Did I get them all just wrong? Correct. This is the elevator. It's right here. 8, 10, 12, 14. 8. I have a piece of tape on the back with the numbers. All right. So what I'm going to attempt to do, I don't know if this is going to work, to hold them in place while because they need to be held up, and I need to see, if they align with each other at all. Oh no. You have to start over with a new time, or you're going to play next week maybe. I'm just wrapping. So what I did is I just folded a little piece of tape over on itself like this, which makes it a double-sided tape. I could use double-sided tape, but I'm not sure that the tape I have won't harm the paint. I don't want to harm the paint. I just want them to stand up. Okay. So these two stairs are in the way now. Two will come together, I think, okay. Keep going around here, the circle. I'm going to tell everybody, well, I hope they do get well. It's like flu season, I guess. People are getting ill. This goes right up against that. And you can see that's where you can't see it. Come on, camera guy, give a zoom in on that. This is supposed to be like that, but you can see that's where the side of the panel shows there. That's what I had to repaint. That's supposed to fit right up close and tight like that. Yeah, there was the microphone's really good because someone was vacuuming upstairs, making a huge amount of noise. Okay, and the dog was barking. It'd be kind of fun to take the. What did you get? Ah, okay. The healing magic is a good thing. I'm sure that there will be a time when your party will be absolutely thrilled that you did that. To take the that fell off too now. Yep. So much for epoxy. Did not grip. To try something else there. I'm going to zoom this way up, as far up as I can go, so you can kind of see what I'm doing in terms of just standing these things up, using the double-sided tape to kind of just hold them vertically so that I can see just whether and how they're going to fit together. This tape shouldn't hurt any of the paint, and if it does, it's not visible. It's way down at the bottom. But part of it is, just yeah. Yeah, that's working really well, isn't it? Look at it not holding. So what happened is this was mounted up. It was too high to not only get them. That one came off too, right? 100% failure rate on the attachment of the stairs. You can begin to see how it's going to end up maybe looking, how it's supposed to end up looking. Great. That's what's happening is it wasn't on the cardboard. I extended it around the edges a little bit beyond the edge just for this purpose, so that there's something for these to rest on as much as they rest on anything. So this is just a temporary thing to help me well, yeah, I need to have the points to use it, right? But at least you have it available. The healing. As it dramatically and slowly falls over. So what I'll be doing is I'm going to be using contact cement, and the contact cement will go along here, along the bottom of the outside of the ring, and along the side, because you can see when they fit together, that they're supposed to join like that. And there just might be enough I don't know. No, they don't really touch though. So it might just be the bottom. Oh, there is some touching going on. And I'm definitely using contact cement because, as you can see, these things holding them in place is not simple. So that what the contact cement does is it gives you up to 2 hours after it's applied. So I can put it on the pieces. Okay, it's getting to be hilarious. It keeps falling over. So I can put it on the pieces, and then I've got 2 hours. It's still effective. No, it's still working. Oh my. Behind it. There, I'm putting a brace behind it. I'm just little glue bottles. It is touch. You have to be contact for it to work. Okay, so you can see that there's a gap there on the bottom, about which nothing can be done. So when these are in contact with each other, they lean. You can see they lean forward. But that's just they're going to have to do that. I think this actually can be done. Wow. Ta-da! It's finished. Yeah, it is there. It's done. They're all. It looks just like the real set. It probably does. It's probably got the same quality, the same level of quality that the real set had. Well, I'm going to end early today, just to let you know. I meant to tell you that earlier. Okay. Okay. So if you have more than two, you could make a bigger heel if somebody was like really in trouble. Well, the staircases were a failure of attachment. I'm going to have to try something else to put them together. I guess contact cement, maybe. The vertical alignment is not bad. All this pretty much the same height. I'm really nervous about doing this. Just there's so many pieces and they all need to fit together. And I know contact cement is the best thing to do because it'll hold them vertically while I, kind of smush them. That's a technical modeling term. And I just feel really nervous about doing it today. I don't know why. Just just concerned that it's going to just not work, or it'll be a huge mess. I don't know what to do. Well, I think you're right, Aman. I think that I mean, I've got the pieces, test fit. I know that they'll go on. That when they're, they'll kind of go together. They aren't bad in terms of their test fitting. Better than I expected, actually. But and I know that the contact cement is the right thing to do because it, like I said, I've got 2 hours before the contact cement stops working. So I can put it on the outside of all of the circle. I can apply it to that. I can apply it to the bottoms of each of these panels. Okay, the part that is in contact. I can apply it to the sides, and it'll all be fine for a good long time, which allows me to, put these panels into place, put them next to each other, stick them like that, adjust them a little bit, make it hold, go on to the next one. So I know the technique is going to be right and that the adhesive is going to be right. But I am, part of the reason too is that the contact cement that I've got is old now, and it I just need a new jar of it. That's what I do. I think between now and Wednesday, part of the problem is that I'm concerned about is that the contact cement's just gotten a whole lot more viscous, than it was when it was fresh, and it's kind of turned yellow. It's just it doesn't flow as well. Yeah, I'm going to chicken out here. I guess I'll just say that. I'm just going to, discretion is the better part of valor is a phrase. So I know this can be done, but I am not confident that I can do it today. So I apologize to everybody for that. But I think it's just safer. I wish I knew what was going on upstairs. One of the dogs is just... He's not alone. If she were alone, I'd be more concerned. She's not. So hopefully somebody's paying attention to figure out what's going on. Maybe they're just playing, I hope. I don't know. Okay, so you can see how it's going to look when it's done. You can see that. And you can see that it's now possible. But what I am going to do is I'm going to get some new contact cement that is not quite as old and evaporated, that will apply better, maybe hold better, and hopefully I'll be able to give this a go on Wednesday. Yeah, just in some ways this is better than I thought it would be, but in other ways just demanding that yeah. So what I'm going to do then, I've got an hour yet. I'm going to finish, as I said, I'm going to stop early. I'm going to finish up no later than noon, maybe a little bit earlier. I'm actually going to do some painting. Yeah, I am. I'm going to yeah, it all fell over. I'm going to put this up out of the way. Kind of. Oh, she doesn't. Okay. I think you'd mentioned that before. And she doesn't really trust the healing magic. But going to paint some black on here. I'm going to paint the collars and the pants. I think I'm going to do that. I think Spock has got a blue tunic. Yeah, Spock is light blue, and Sulu and Kirk are yellow. Black pants, shiny black boots, black collar, little insignia there. That's going to be a little bit of a challenge to paint. White squigglies, and then I have to come up with some sort of flesh tone paint. Sure, why not? Why not do some unexpected, relaxing painting? Get a selection of brushes here. That's the question. The decision about whether they're going to be evil or not can be deferred. That decision can be deferred for a little bit until I paint their faces. And it's not until I paint their faces. But I am seriously thinking of evil Spock and Sulu and Kirk. Okay. Yeah, I was unprepared for this. So I'm going to need to be off camera for a bit while I get my little palette thing, little round palette thing into which I put paints. Be right back. So these were designed, I think, for like early elementary school art things. They're just plastic. I think they're designed for like single-use throwaway kinds of things. Everybody gets one of these and puts their paint in it and then paints things. I keep reusing them until they become totally unusable because I'm cheap. I mean, really, really cheap. This is the glossy one. And this is the one that's flat because it says flat on it. Can you see? Is there anything on camera? There. I'm wrong about this. I need to paint the hands first before I paint the pants, because painting down onto the black with the flesh color isn't going to cover that well. But if I get a little bit of the flesh color onto the pants, the black will cover it. So everything is just not working today. Sometimes it isn't happening. It's just not going to go. And today is acting like that. I apologize. I really thought that I'd be able to get this thing constructed today. I was seriously planning on having that done. But just not, I'm not confident in the material that I've got and how it would go. So I'm going to defer that to a future time. And then I can't figure out what to paint first. I guess I need to start with the shirt. And then the flesh tone. I could paint the flesh tone on the faces later. Indecisive. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and paint. I am going to go ahead and paint the pants and then figure out what to do about Spock's hands some other time. I would like to. This is it's turning into a Monday, isn't it? And this is acting like a Monday. Probably the best thing about it is that I haven't broken anything yet. I'm just saying yet. Well, I did. I disassembled the stairs. Those came off. Yeah, well, this is going to be a test of how this is going. I'm going to paint the collar first. I'm going to do that first. And I'm going to put my head magnifier on and just it's a test to see whether I can do something today without it being a disaster. Let's see. Let's all find out together. Zoom out a little bit. That way. There. Ooh, there's the black paint. I was almost spilling it all over the place. That would have been a Monday thing to do, right? Let's just have this big blot of black paint. I'm holding the thing and it's oozing out, and then it's a mess. So I'm attempting this brush to paint the collar. Uniform. Yep, I got it all over the shirt already. Okay, well, it was going okay. And then the thing fell off just as I was, yeah, and I got it up all over the top of its neck. It's definitely a Monday thing, wasn't it? Say, on a scale of 1 to 10, this is about a 4. Not great. It was going okay until it fell off the holder. And just making an effort to hold it, and it didn't work. See if I can paint around the hand. This is supposed to be relaxing painting, but it really just is painting. I hope it's relaxing for you. This is where it would really be good to put it in the holder. But that's not happening because it fell off and it caused more harm than help. As minifigs go, I would say, I mean, if this were a minifig, it would be like a 4 out of 10. I mean, the hands don't even have fingers. They're way too thick. They look like it looks like he's wearing mittens. There's a thumb, but there's only the slightest little bits of indentation for where his fingers might be. Why is he got a? I can see it now. No, the head magnifiers. The face, the heads have a lot of detail. His face is very detailed, and he is very grumpy. I mean, he's just looking. I don't know if I can show it to you, but the face would definitely work for evil Spock. I'll put it up to the camera. I don't know if it's going to focus there. Look. I mean, he looks old and wrinkly and grumpy. Wow. I could use a bigger brush to finish the pants, I think. Just use a big softer bristle brush to paint the rest of the pants here. I'm not too worried about the boots. The boots are going to be black as well. They're going to be glossy, so I'm just going to paint down kind of onto them to make sure that the bottoms of the pants are painted. This is not a good brush. I mean, it's okay for this, but the bristles are incoherent. Stay attached. Monday's definitely being Monday. There, no, there's no black. It's got black pants, and the next thing I'll do is I'll paint. Paint the tunic. Stay there while the paint dries. It's looking for spots that were missed. This is, that happens. Okay, well, there. Another ta-da moment. No, there. Oh, I'm not even keeping anywhere close to being on camera even. Oh, let's see what happens to Sulu. What could possibly happen? That would be bad with Sulu. This brush is going to need a deep cleaning. I'll clean it after I finish with Sulu. Spock way out of the way because otherwise I'm going to bump into it. I can tell it's going to be a bumping into day. Well, I'm not going to promise that on Wednesday I'm going to assemble the bridge. I'm not going to make that promise because I just don't know. Hopefully between now and then I'll be able to get new contact cement. That's just going very badly. Yeah, there's going to have to be some significant cleaning up of the line here. This collar is really not well defined on this model. Yeah, I got it way up on his, way up high there. Some of the rest of it isn't too bad. But it is good that I am not painting things that cannot be fixed. Hopefully the yellow will cover the black here. On Wednesday, hopefully I will come up somehow or other between now and then. Find a new container of the contact cement so that I can start with fresh paint, fresh adhesive. And I really do need to put that together. I can't finish. I just have to finish it. So one way or the other. Hopefully the one way that I pick is the way that will work. But one way or the other, I will be attaching those panels to the base on Wednesday. I can't put it off any longer. But I'm pretty sure that today was not the right day to do it. And I appreciate Amon encouraging me to wait. So thank you for that. Should get the Kirk figure out. I wonder. Paint Kirk's collar and pants too. Why not? I set it down somewhere where I wouldn't knock it over. So I need to find it because I know it's somewhere here. It hasn't disappeared. So what's weird is that, these aren't really good minifigs. They're just injection molded. Spock's and Sulu's heads are too big for their bodies, especially Sulu's. Okay. Kirk's head is actually too small for his body. I think that's kind of funny, actually, that would be the case, but it is. There it is. Kirk is sitting in the captain's chair. Sprayed primer on that. Didn't take hold. Sorry, I'm going quiet once again. I apparently can't do two things at once. I can't make a mess of paint. Can't make a mess with paint and talk at the same time. This is where it would be good if the older thing would actually hold, but it doesn't. Get the other brush out. I'm going to finish Kirk's Pants and then talk about Dyson Dungeons. Well, clean these brushes and then talk about Dyson Dungeons a little bit, and then probably call it a day. So yes, I can talk and paint at the same time. Sure, I can. Why not? So Dyson Dungeons is a group of family and friends whose main purpose in life, just our main purpose in life is to put on an amazing Dungeons and Dragons show. And that streams, not airs, that shows my age, doesn't it? That streams on Twitch with a live chat on Sundays at 2. 3 Sundays a month. So you have to check your social media, those of you who do that, to find out which ones, because it's not every Sunday, it's 3 Sundays a month, but I don't know the schedule actually. We record them ahead of time so that Lexi, our DM, can add music that has to be done in post. We have a relationship. We purchase our music from a composer named Nakarada, who does really cool bits of music, and those are part of the show. We used to play his music on this stream too, but YouTube, there are consistent problems with music on YouTube where there are copyright pirates, basically people, robots, who knows what, evil artificial intelligent agents claiming copyright over every piece of music that even if you clearly own the copyright, they will make a claim. And then YouTube doesn't want to get caught up in that, and so they pull your episode because of that. There are just, everywhere you go, there's people who do that kind of stuff. But that's another story. That isn't this story. Our story is that you can catch up on the episodes of our D&D show on YouTube or listen to them as a podcast. I know a lot of people just listen to them instead of just watching them, and it's really good. I mean, I just have to say we put on a good show. It's not just playing in the basement kind of thing. Our DM has put together an amazing world in which we play. Okay, well, there's Kirk in his pants. So we have 3 players. Hines, the Tabaxi Bard, who has been cursed and turned into a badger. Still say it's playing a Tabaxi Bard because underneath the curse is still a Tabaxi, not a badger, but he was cursed and turned into a badger, but is actually a Tabaxi Bard. I play Ulseth Ralph, a Furbog fighter, and Nicole plays Zoria Ansul, a changeling druid, who has spent a lot of time dabbling in the Fey realm, and it's starting to show in some of the things that she does. And our DM has brought on an NPC, 4th member of the party, to just help balancing. Holwyn, they are a elf ranger, does, shoots arrows. Very handy to have around. I'm just deep cleaning these brushes with lacquer thinner because the water doesn't always get the paint out of the bristles. So yeah, our D&D show is what this is all about, and I think I have time. I'm going to show you some of the dungeon tiles in just a minute, because this stream, as you probably all know by now, because I say it at least once a week, started out as painting the dungeon tiles and minifigs for the show. And when there weren't any dungeon tiles and minifigs to paint, I started building models because our DM said, well, keep the stream going, why not? And I said, why? And she said, well, because I said so, and I'm the boss because I'm the DM. And so I did, and I started building models. The first couple were kind of nostalgia things, like I did a Renwall cutaway George Washington nuclear submarine, which actually were vintage kits. I built kits that I purchased on resale that were original to the 1960s, which is when I built one when I was a kid. So I built that, and I built an Apollo thing, and I built a gift. This wasn't a vintage kit, but it was a gift, of Savoia S-21 Porco Rosso's plane. I'm just going to set this away. Okay, well, there they are. There's a mess. I'll put these on. And I'm going to show you some dungeon tiles if I can keep them on camera without knocking anything else over. And then I'm going to wrap up early because I have some other things I need to do today that can't wait for another day. So I'll be, after I show you these, I will be. Well, that was good. It didn't fall on the floor. It just fell over. There's some of them. Where are the good ones? Oh, there they are. I mean, these are good, but these are really good. Okay, so dungeon tiles. Yeah. These are stone, rough stone, and they are printed on a 3D printer like the one behind me. And then they are base coated, and then they are painted, and then detail is painted on. And for many of them, there is, this is a cut stone version. It's washed with a dark gray wash to make it look weathered and aged. And the really cool thing about these tiles is that they have ball magnets in the corners on the bottom, so they stick to each other. And then they come apart really easily, so you could rearrange them all sorts of different ways to make all sorts of different dungeons with their different dungeons. And there are corners, like there's an outside corner, we have inside corners, we have rounded corners, that kind of thing. And so these are an example of the dungeon tiles. These are also examples of them. These are also printed in, black PLA on a printer, but then they're painted to look like wood. And so they're primed, okay, and then base coated in a light brown, and then washed in kind of a reddish brown wash that really brings it to life and brings out the wood grain. And then after that's done, then the stucco panels are painted. So it's a multiple step process. And when we were painting lots of these for dungeons and warehouses and taverns and other things that are made out of wood or stone, keeps and castles and lairs, okay, that's what this stream was about. And then, as I said, others ran out of these, didn't run out, didn't need any more. These also have working doors. They're pin hinged up here, detail painted, little straps and handles and that sort of thing. Some tiles are special. They have sigils built into them, like a fire sigil. Again, hand painted on this stream ages and ages ago. You could probably still find it on YouTube if you look back to when these were originally painted. Some huge improvements have been made in the dungeon tiles recently. Our DM continually makes them better and better and better. One change that isn't too obvious is that the magnets used to go under these plates, okay? Like this whole thing was printed and the magnets would go in and the plate would be applied and epoxied on. But recently we have a new printer that will stop and then restart. And so there's no plate on these anymore. They still have the magnets in them, okay, but there's no plate. So it's one solid piece, very, very solid. And the magnets are embedded inside there, so there's no worry about them breaking. And the same thing, some things happened with the door too. You can see that on these older versions, the pins went through the top and then were cemented on, and nothing up here, because she's figured out how to stop it, put the pin in, and finish it so that the tile is essentially seamless. The painting will be a little bit more difficult because the door has to be painted in situ instead of being painted and then attached. But, the dungeon tile itself is so much better. The other huge improvement, I don't know how she did this, but with the new printers, okay, when you're doing PLA, it's like strings going across, and you can see here that there was some stringiness that, in order to prep it so that it looked nice, that would all have to be filed off. Okay, so it was even, but here, there isn't any. The whole bottom is absolutely smooth, and she figured out some way to do that, which is pretty cool. So you can see the difference in quality of the tile versus the old versus the newest version. And the same thing was true of here, where where the arch is, there was some stringiness there, and there isn't anymore. So these are extremely high quality dungeon tiles that at one point were featured on this stream because I painted them. And that's how relaxing painting started. Painting these actually was pretty relaxing. You know, base coating these, you go through a lot of paint, but it's just making sure that everything is covered. And even the detail painting, like the stucco, is not extremely taxing compared to, like painting detail on a minifig, that kind of thing. Well, I'm going to wrap up now that I've demonstrated our dungeon tiles and talked about the history of relaxing painting, sometimes with dice and dungeons. And I will be back on Wednesday, and hopefully on Wednesday, I will actually do the construction, the assembly of the bridge with all of those parts that are under the paper towels that I showed you earlier. Aman, thanks for dropping in. Everybody else who is listening to this, thanks so much. Become a follower, go to YouTube, become a subscriber, go to patreon.com/DiceAndDungeons, become a patron, and help support our D&D show. But most importantly, go to YouTube or listen to a podcast and get to know us as our characters on our show. Thanks so much. I will be back on Wednesday, and hopefully on Wednesday be able to go the entire time and actually get some things done. See you then.